Well, this is Manish Patel from the EII Capital Group. This is the last of the 6 video series, I believe, that we did. And this is basically going to go in and sum up all the individual videos that we've done and kind of show you exactly what to look for to trade. Um, just like normal, disclaimer, this is for educational purpose only. All the charts are created in Thinkorswim platform. You could go to www.thinkorswim.com and you could get more information in regards to charting or brokerage services from Thinkorswim. Okay, here are my contact details. You could go to eiicapital.com to see all the free resources available for Ichimoku. So let's jump straight into the chart. We have gone through a lot on the individual videos. And we're going to try to put it together in a short time on this little video here. So in order to trade, you want to look at 4 basic rules. The very first rule that you want to see is where is price in terms of the cloud. Okay, and if you notice, the price is basically in the cloud. So right away, this is telling you that this is consolidating. Again, if it was below the cloud, it would be bearish. If it's above the cloud, it would be bullish. Okay, so right now there's no trade at all. Okay, however, you know one thing, that if it's above the cloud, you could trade it. If it's below the cloud, you could trade it. So even though this is not right now tradable, what you really need to do is you need to come up here and sit there and put some alerts. Okay, I'm going to put alert here at the top of this cloud right there. And then I'm going to put alert right there at the bottom of this cloud. So basically when price comes to there, I'm going to get alerted, and then it's going to tell me to come and look at the charts again. You really don't sit there and need to keep on looking at these charts over and over and over. Reason why is the more you look at charts and there's nothing there, you're going to make something happen that's not there. Okay, so the goal is to analyze a chart within a couple of seconds. If you're not ready to trade it, put your alerts and move on. Okay, now when you put your alerts, you need to put both bullish and bearish alerts, and then you can sit there and move on. You don't want to be caught coming up with a sentiment, because this is not bullish, neither is it bearish. Okay, so you need to move on. So very first thing you look at is price in terms of this cloud. Okay, second thing you need to look at is the Tinkinson-Cagenson relationship. Okay, so right now, if you look at this, the Tinkinson is below the Cagenson. That's basically indicating bearish. Okay, if the Tinkinson was above the Cagenson, that would be bullish. Okay, now you also have to look at price. The reason why is you can't have scenarios where all of a sudden the Tinkinson is below the Cagenson, which is indicating bearish, but price all of a sudden has moved up, gapped all the way up to the above the Cagenson. When that's occurring, there is a conflict. Reason why is the only way the Tinkinson can be bearish compared to Cagenson is where price is below the Tinkinson too. Okay, so there are there are states that you can get in conflict, and when you're not certain, wait for things to go back into equilibrium. Okay, do not sit there and attempt to sit there and try to trade something that does not make sense. Price has to be, for a bearish scenario, price has to be below the Tinkinson, and then the Tinkinson has to be below the Cagenson. That's the 3-tier process. Okay, that's the second rule. Okay, also if they're in the cloud, that's also telling you consolidation, so you don't really want to look at that either. The third rule is the Shikao. The Shikao has, what is it? Right now, if you look at it, Shikao is below the price from 26 periods ago, so this is telling you this is bearish. Okay, if it was above it, it'll be bullish. And then you have to kind of forecast and see what's ahead. If you draw that box, imaginary box there, it shows you it's not going to run into price at all. So this is telling you that this is pretty strong bearish. However, it's about to run into the cloud, right? Well, that's a problem. So we really needed to come out of the cloud. So really, we already have an alert here. So when price comes down here, it's already going to get alerted to us. So at that point, the Shikao will be in this potential open space right there. So that looks ideal for us. Okay, so that looks good. So that's the third rule, which is looking at the Shikao. And the fourth rule is looking at this Kuma future. You want to make sure it's bearish. And in this scenario, it is bearish. So if you look at this scenario, if price comes down to this level right here, you could then set up for a possible trade to go short. I hope everyone could see that, because that is the ideal scenario. Now, on entry, what would you do? Well, really, if you get triggered here on there, We don't know what's price going to be, but let's just say you just get triggered there. You then want to sit there and draw some major support and resistance lines based on the Kumo flats and the Shikao, and then sit there and use that and go a couple of points below those. I'm going to just take that. So this is a flat part peak on the Kumo cloud. So I'm going to take that, if I can move my mouse. I'm going to move it just a couple of points below that. So that's your buffer. And that would now be my entry right there. And then I would use either the Tinkinson or the Cajunson plus a buffer as my stop. Okay? If you don't feel comfortable with that risk, then don't sit there and take the trade. Okay? You have to be comfortable with that risk. Okay? Now, the scenario I went through is the ideal Ichimoku scenario. It has 4 rules to it, and you have to look for those ideal scenarios all the time in order to trade. Okay? Lastly, we're going to just go here. Just want to emphasize again, if you go to eiicapital.com over here and just click on download, you could download the full-blown Ichimoku video, which goes through everything in detail, even more than what we did on the YouTube. That way you could get all the concepts and rules and rules and everything in regards to Ichimoku. I hope you enjoyed the video series. Please contact us for any questions you may have.